First off, congratulations on 13 pro season, one of the longest streaks in North America after right. Second longest. First off, you could just reflect on kind of the totality of that achievement.
Well, I mean, the totality of that achievement, what I would say to that, I could go recent history and say Ziggy started us off really well. I thought, when we first started in 2009, Ziggy was absolutely the right guy to start our club. I thought he did a great job for this club. We were competitive. We won some U.S. Open Cups. We did a lot of good things, Jeremiah. And then I'd probably go step backwards from there and say that the USL team that I coached was good. I think we missed the playoffs one year in 2006, sandwich around 05 championship, 07 championship, but we were always successful. You go back in the A-League days with Bernie, Neil, Scott Oakey funding that, Alan Hinton bringing that back to life in 94, all of that. And then I'd also go back to the 80s, where we were always a proud franchise, and getting to Soccer Bowl, all of that. And then you go even further back and you go into the, origins of, the Whitecaps and Sounders rivalry back in the 70s. And the team was competitive back then. My good friend Jimmy Gabriel, God rest his soul, John Best, some of the guys that started us off, Dave Gillett, Pepe Fernandez, that whole group. So I think overall, the consistency of our franchise, Jeremiah, has been that we take pride in what we do. We take pride in the job that we're asked to do. And what I would end with, because your question was kind of open, is the fans that have stuck with us for all these years are the real winners. I mean, the people tonight were great. I love the fact that the fans came in. It was loud. I'm glad that I'm sure you guys asked Chu a bunch of good questions at the end, but just give the fans a reward that came here tonight at 4-1. It was good. I mean, some of the goals, Will's goal, third goal, I'm sure you guys are going to ask me about that, but I'll talk about that later. But just the whole atmosphere of the game. We start off the front foot. Vancouver came back because it's a rivalry game. We end the game well. The people who were in the building, this franchise, the relationship between those players and they were chanting Leo Chu's name. I mean, I love that. You asked me the other day about, the standing ovation at halftime in Colorado, but they were chanting Leo Chu's name. I mean, I love it. And that's why our franchise is so great. So I hope I answered your question.
Maz.
Yeah, just staying with that. I mean, the commitment and the toughness of this team physically.
You're talking about Will Bruin?
Well, it's funny. I was going to go there because I was going to start with.
Okay, go. Keep going. Sorry, I interrupted. Maz, I interrupted. Sorry.
Don't let him derail you.
Because I was going to go there with the toughness because Will Bruin gets a knock in practice, right?
Oh, you were there.
And we were there.
Uh-huh.
And then you did coach speak and say he'll play, and then he comes back and the toughness to get the goal. So there you go.
Well, that was a great goal because look, to Jeremiah's point earlier, I mean, look, Vancouver came back a little bit and it was a bad goal to give up right before halftime. Bad goal. Okay, gives the visiting team some momentum, getting into the game and all that. And Will said it at halftime. This is a little insider stuff here for you guys. At halftime, I did my normal spiel and, tactics and whatever, but Will said to the group, there are more goals in this game for us. And he was right, and he delivered. So his words were, again, more important than mine.
Stephen?
That was the first time you guys have seen Vancouver since Ryan Balls joined up with them.
Good player.
What was your game plan for him, and then can you just give your thoughts on
For Josh and JP to double team him. We couldn't let him get behind them. Look, he did, because he's a good player. I actually think he's a really good player. He got behind us a couple times. They do the same thing with us. with JP, the false fullback. He floats into wide channels, but they give him freedom. And, you know, he makes it work for them. But our game plan there was to always just be aware of where he is, because good players are always, at some point in the game, going to hurt you. But you just try and limit their opportunities when they can hurt you. So I thought we did an okay job there. Buenas noches.
I'm not needed here, apparently.
Luego del tropiezo en Las Vegas, el equipo ha mejorado y en los dos últimos partidos, tanto con el Colorado Rapids y el Vancouver el día de hoy, se ha logrado un buen resultado. Le voy a repetir la pregunta que le hice a sus jugadores. ¿Cuánto es mérito del equipo y cuánto es las deficiencias o facilidades que dio el otro equipo? Primera pregunta. Y la segunda, después de los resultados obtenidos, ¿cree usted haber encontrado ya el esquema ideal de juego para disputar la final?
After these bumps, the bump in the road, that was
Vegas.
the final in Vegas. The team found good results versus Colorado and Vancouver. I will repeat the same question that I asked your players. Was it merit from your team or weakness, the other team making things easier for you? And the second, after these good results, do you believe that you found the style of play to play the playoffs and the finals?
So the weakness, no, because Colorado is a very good team. They're very close to us, and that was a hard game. Vancouver, it's a rival. I mean, they were, Alex, you will correct me if I'm wrong on this. They've lost one game out of 10 or one game out of they were on a good streak. So that was a challenging game, I would say. Obviously at home, I think we found our home form, and I think we've done better, but both Colorado and Vancouver were hard games against Western Conference opponents. And what I would say about the future, about the style, about who we are, yes, I think the identity of the team is coming into focus. We know how we want to play, at home or away, and if we make small changes in personnel or small changes in the tactics, overall the team knows exactly who they are and how they want to play.
The answers. First question. Look, the teams that we played were hard. Colorado is a hard team.
En español?
Thank you. I was going to keep going. Francis.
Sounded great to us.
But I just said that.
You can check if I'm paying attention.
No, that's okay. Okay.
Bueno, Colorado fue un equipo muy duro, el partido fue muy duro también, y si considera el partido contra Vancouver, es un partido contra un rival local, y no solamente esto, me corrige si estoy equivocado, pero parece que estaban así en un trayecto muy bueno, perdiendo solamente 1 de 10 partidos, entonces que la dificultad sí estaba, y estamos jugando bien en casa, pero fueron partidos duros, especialmente porque fueron contra equipos de la costa oeste. La segunda pregunta. Con respecto a este estilo de juego, cómo jugamos y todo esto, sí, en realidad estamos creando una identidad y estamos descubriendo cómo queremos jugar, y esta forma de jugar está saliendo más en foco. Cómo jugamos en casa, cómo jugamos afuera. Y no solamente esto, también nos damos cuenta que mismo pequeños cambios de jugadores o de tácticas sí nos ayudan y sabemos quién somos y cómo jugamos y cómo queremos jugar.
Muchas gracias.
De nada.
Sorry.
Thank you, Bob.
In fairness to Bob, he's working between 3 languages tonight, so he's a legend, so no worries.
Just keeping him on his toes.
Yeah, no, for sure. He appreciates that. Mickey, go ahead.
Coach, you talked, I think, at practice about wanting to
press them a little bit more. Obviously, in the first 20, 25 minutes, you guys were very effective. I just wanted to ask you what you thought about the press and how effective it was, and just generally, how it presented itself for the rest of the game.
It's 2 games in a row at home because we wanted to erase the home form. I think at home it's vital that you start off on the front foot. And so they are doing that. They understand the tactics that we want on, certain specific scenarios, when we press, how we press, Mickey. So I think you give credit to the team for executing the game plan, for executing, maybe not the game plan, just in individual circumstances, just they understand the visual cues of when to press. And the guys behind them, so one guy makes a movement and the guys behind them understand what that guy in front of them is doing, and then they make adjustments and they press, and then the guys behind them do the same, and all of a sudden it's a really effective team press. So kudos to them.
A few more in the room, and then we'll go up to Matt on Zoom for those questions. John, go ahead.
Coach, with the win today, you go top of the Cascadia Cup standings as well. I'm curious, with only 2 games left in that tournament to play, from Vancouver to Portland, you going to Vancouver, how much is that cup?
We want to keep George here. Is it parked in the Atlantic? Where is it?
Probably right from the
Okay, we want to keep it there. We don't want that to leave. And we're a goal difference because we smashed Portland 6-2.
Right.
So we're tied on points.
Yes, correct.
So it's not easy because Portland, Vancouver, Seattle has been a great rivalry, but we want to keep George here.
Is that getting brought up by you to the players in the locker room, or do they just...
Steph brought it up. You guys will see. Our crack media staff. I mean, these guys are good. You will hear Steph's comments in our huddle before the game. That'll answer your question. The players get it. Players understand.
For those not in the know, Brian is referring to the Cascadia Cup itself with that reference, Maz. I saw you there, so all good. I got you.
They know what George is.
No, I saw a
Okay,
few
all
raised
right,
eyebrows,
okay,
just making
all
sure.
right, okay.
Just making sure.
Okay.
Ari, go ahead.
Coach, so Nico Benezet wasn't really playing much for the Rapids. He comes in, he's chipped in a few goals, and from the outside it seems like he's really fitting off the field very well.
You just like his Instagram account.
Right.
His social media account is great. That's why he fits in.
Yeah, but like, what have you seen with his integration with the team, like both on the field and then how he's kind of melded with the group?
Our players enjoy playing with good soccer players, with smart soccer players. He is a good soccer player and a smart soccer player. I mean, that goal he scored today was quality. I mean, his movement, his first touch around the corner, I mean, he's a good player. So I don't know what more to say. He's a great soccer player, and he's great on social media.
Take one more down here, then go up to Zoom. Maz, you got it.
Coach, I'm going to go back. How does a team find its identity after losing 2 assistant coaches? I mean, because you just said that.
You're giving the coaching staff too much credit. The players find their own identity. The teams always find their own identity. We as coaches, our job, my job, is to give the players the tools to be successful. That's our job. The players do the heavy lifting. They're the ones that do the work. They're the ones that fight through dog days of June, July, August, 7 games in 23 days, training sessions, hard days. You know, they don't want to work, but they have to. They know it's their job. I mean, it's their job, and they have a great job. But they understand that their careers are finite. There's only a certain amount of years, and they're the ones that do all that. We as coaches sometimes get too much credit. I mean, people are going to say, oh, Brian made a great sub with Leo Chu because he scored a goal. Okay, if he didn't score or he gave the ball away or something, I'd be a bad coach. I mean, it's all relevant. I mean, Leo Chu's the one that scored the goal. He's the one that has the potential to help this franchise for years to come. He's the one that does that, not me. So that's what I would say.
But the tactics, the three in the back.
That's easy because, look, what we do here as a club, because we're not a systems-based club, there are teams that will play, 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, and they plug the players in, and it's the system. We're not like that. We take an assessment of who we have on the roster, and then we find the right formation. We try and be flexible because, again, if we're talking about Nico Benezet tonight and Christian Roldan, who plays where Nico played tonight, they're two different players. Christian's more power, pace, speed. Nico's maybe tactics, smart, in the pocket, technical. They're different. They're just different. If Freddie Montero versus Nico Ladero plays in that other left pocket, they're different players. So the tactics shift subtly just based on your personnel. So again, it's all credit to the players. They're the ones that do the hard work.
Okay, we'll go upstairs to Matt Winter. I see he's got a couple on Zoom. Matt, take it away.
We'll do. We'll hop right into it. Felipe Makeda, go ahead.
Thank you, Matt.
There you go.
Felicidades, Coach Brian, por el triunfo.
Gracias.
Me gustaría saber si usted piensa que el primer objetivo del equipo se ha cumplido, que es por 13ª ocasión estar dentro de la liguilla, y después de este triunfo, ¿qué es lo que sigue para Seattle Sounders?
Congratulations. Now that the first objective to get to the playoffs is accomplished, what do you think comes next for the Seattle Sounders?
Just to stay in first place, Felipe. The West is hard. There's a lot of teams close. So we just want to finish first in the West. That's our next objective.
To finish first, para terminar en primero, para terminar en primero en la costa oeste, una costa muy difícil, entonces ese es nuestro objetivo.
John Lupo, go ahead.
Thanks, Matt. Brian, you mentioned that Leo can be a player that will help this franchise for many years to come. When you put him in the game, what were your expectations for him, and what did you see out of him, and what does he possess that he'll be able to help this franchise going forward?
My expectations of Leo are pretty simple: that he works for the team, that he plays for the team, plays for his teammates, and then tactically, look, the game at 3-1, we knew Vancouver was going to commit numbers going forward, and a young player that has tremendous pace, good speed, he can go forward, he can combine his little give and go, all of those little nuances, that helped him, that helped us have some success in the game. So in the bigger picture things, it's a little too early because, again, he's a young kid and he's come on and done well. But in the longer term, our expectations as a coaching staff, again, is just that he works, knows how to defend in the way we want to defend, but that doesn't take away from what he possesses, which is a very good attacking mentality.
Jada Evans.
Thanks. Brian, you spoke a little bit about Nico Benezet, but can you explain a little bit more about why you chose him to team up with Kellen on the right side?
Well, Nico was chosen because the way we like to play, the way we set up our formation, he was opposite, really, Freddie Montero, and Will Bruin was up top. And then, as always, Jada, we encourage, and it's important and vital that our wingbacks get higher up the field. And tonight, Kellen had a really, really good game. I mean, not just the first assist to Shane, which Shane's header was a great header, but I thought Kellen was really, really good. And so the expectation is when a player comes and plays more in the middle of the field in the pocket, that the wing back is the one that goes forward. And I thought you saw that being executed tonight, Jada, very, very well. So kudos to Nico and kudos to Kellen, because he had a tremendous performance.
Don't see any other follow-ups on Zoom, so I'll give a couple seconds if anybody needs one. But I think we are all good down here, Alex, so I'll let you take it away.
Thanks, Matt. We'll close with, does Jada have a follow-up there? I see your hand.
Go ahead, Jada.
Well, yeah, on the lighter thing, I mean, you haven't had, I guess it's going to be like a week off from a game. What do you kind of think you'll do with that extended time between games?
We're going to go back and practice, Jada. This is our job. I mean, I'm going to thank you for asking that. I gave them 2 days off. So I hope they use that wisely and they recover physically and they recover emotionally. I'll give them 2 days off, Jada, but then we're going to go back to work because the season's not over. We want to finish in first place.
No other hands. Go ahead, Alex.
Copy that, Matt. Thanks. Okay. Beth.
Yeah, what did you think about Nico Benze's goal celebration?
I didn't know what it was. Is that what you young people call twerking? I have no idea. I don't know. Did he touch his hamstring too? Did he do something like that? I don't know what that, I have no idea. You have to ask him.
Oh, please don't ask me. Yeah. All right, Jeremiah, go for it.
Yeah, the players said they had a lot of fun out there. I'm curious if when you see the game get as open as it was, is that fun for you to see it that open, or is it more like heartburning to see the chances going both ways?
Okay, very good question, Jeremiah. Yes, for coaches, sometimes it's not great. It's not great. But look, when you're up 3-1 and Leo Chu's running at the opponent, yes, then it's okay. Then I'm okay with it. But if that game stood at 2-1 a little longer before Will scored his golazo, then it becomes a little bit in my gut, in our stomachs, it's a little bit more painful. But when you're on the front foot, you're at home, you're trying to entertain, again, the great crowd that we had tonight. I love the fact that everybody showed up. Then it's good. Then it's great.
Mickey, go ahead, and Maz will come to you next.
Coach, you made some reports that Raul Ruiz has suffered some type of injury with Bruin. Have you talked to him or represented it?
I have not talked to him, but our training staff has talked to their training staff. We'll assess him when he comes back. I mean, that stuff happens. We'll deal with it.
Maz, go ahead.
I get it, 2 days off, you want to stay in first place and continue to win MLS Cups. Did it sink in, the 13? Was there a moment today to now, or was it just in passing as you?
Yeah. You wait till I'm 70 and retired, and I'll think about it.
Even the fact you're in the playoffs, is that an achievable goal that you got?
Well, look, that's a bare minimum for our club. That is the absolute bare minimum for our club, is to make the playoffs. Look, it's pro sports. At some point, that streak's going to come to an end, even for the Penguins. That's who we're fighting, right?
Yes,
Isn't
Coach.
that who we're fighting?
That's correct.
That's going to end for them, right?
Yeah.
But right now, yeah, we like the milestone. We like the marker. It's a good marker for MLS. But at the end of the day, our club, even if there's the odd year where we, God forbid, don't make the playoffs, we will still compete. We will always compete. We'll always have a competitive squad. I went into Jeremiah's first question, started in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and now with this iteration, it'll always be the same. Seattle's a good sports town. I mean, it's a good sports town.
John, you still have one?
Yeah, I'm curious your thoughts on the substitutions tonight. I know you did have a short bench, but you chose to only use, I think it was only 2, not 3 subs instead of 5. Was there any thought of that with, having a short bench and getting guys in, or was it more of just as the game called for it?
I mean, as always, my substitution patterns are based on what I see during the game. I mean, Danny Leva came on and did a great job. We won 4-1. Leo Chu scored a goal. I mean, I thought the subs were okay. Could I have put some other guys on at the end of the game? Maybe. But, you know, those are always decisions that the fans can always talk about. I love the fact that they're engaged enough to, you know, rate the way I coach. That's okay. Any person that pays a ticket, that is a fan, I give them that. That's their right.
I think Jeremiah has the last question. Before we let him close, just two quick notes. Hat tip to Craig Weibel in the back for making sure I bring this up. The game in Tacoma just finished 4-1 was the final score for Defiance.
Awesome.
I believe Sam Adinner had a hat trick. Yep, Craig's confirming, so that's great. I'd also be remiss not to mention that tonight was Ryan Shaber's last show for Sounders FC for this year, and maybe for a while as he moves on to produce shows for Root Sports with the Seattle Kraken. Do you have any thoughts on Ryan?
Ryan's been great. He is a good guy, good Northwest guy. I'm sure he'll do well for the Kraken, and we'll miss him.
Well said. Jeremiah?
Yeah, you go back to 2002, your first year. I think that you have missed the playoffs just one time during that entire
2006.
2006.
I remember exactly the reason why. But keep going.
So you've had two head coaches in that time, you and Siggy. You've had two GMs, Adrian and Garth. You've had two majority owners in that time, Adrian and Joe Roth. If you could just speak to the role that continuity sort of plays in this ongoing success that you guys enjoyed over these last 20 years.
I think that, Jeremiah, again, I'll go back to my trademark standard answer. The constant of this club is the relationship between the fans and the players. I am just a steward of the club. I will be gone. Adrian at some point will be gone. Joe Roth gone. It's inevitable. But what will always remain is the relationship between the players and the fans. That will always be there. That's what's important.